What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ape Well. I'm Paper Ape. Today, we're talking to my good friend Auslo from VaultSwap. He is one of the two founders of it. It's a brand new peer-to-peer NFT trading platform. I'm really excited to share it with you guys and give you guys another tool to use in your repertoire when trading NFTs. So let's jump into it. Auslo, thanks for being here. Glad to have you.
Paper, thanks for having me, man. I randomly got involved in Bitcoin in 2014, 2015, and just was sort of like a spectator. I didn't go too deep into it. I spent a lot of time learning about the white paper. Like I studied the white paper. It took me like a week to fully understand it. But that's all I tried to grasp. And I sort of just sat on my hands and, would just find information passively as, I had a career, and it was just like this weird interest that I had. And, fast forward to, Ethereum. I remember watching like a YouTube video of Vitalik explain Ethereum, and I remember so specifically not understanding a word of what he was saying, but there was just something about him, right? Like this energy and this like intelligence that he had this idea, and even though I couldn't fully understand it at the time, I wanted to bet on this person. So I bought into Ethereum and just sort of watched it. And like for the first ICO craze, I really wanted to like buy into these ICO projects, like, the augurs of the world and all these random ICOs, but I could never wrap my head around it. And so I just sort of came and went. And I was still like this passive observer of like cryptocurrency in general.
I kind of wanted to touch on like what your journey's been like in NFTs.
So I learned about NFTs early on. Like, I guess to backtrack a little bit, many years ago, I randomly went to these Bitcoin meetups. And these Bitcoin meetups, it was like 2014, 2015. Show up to these meetups and the vibe was completely different. Everyone just had like the things that they were trying to gain from other people. And I think maybe because Bitcoin was so like straightforward and it wasn't as fast as NFTs. So it was just sort of like this weird, there's just a really strange dynamic to it. And it turned me off from meetups like entirely. But, fast forward to like the second half of last year, I really dug into NFTs. I was like, okay, there's a lot going on here. I need to at least understand it before I discount it, like I had other things in the past. And I went down the rabbit hole, and I was just red pilled on NFTs and what they were and what they could potentially be, and I just became instantly obsessed. And I think that, like, I guess we can call it red pilling, that occurs is it's kind of common amongst like the people in the NFT space, because you kind of see the future or what the future could potentially be. And I just went like headfirst into it.
That's awesome. I think a lot of people can probably relate to that, like especially because coming from the regular coin background, NFTs seems it's really a whole different world, and sometimes it's hard to see what all is going on from the outside until you actually jump in and start participating, and then you're like, oh, these things they start to click. What kind of communities are you into, like at present day?
Okay, so present day communities that I spend the most time in, first and foremost, probably the local community, which is how you and I know each other, the NFT Wranglers, which is, the NFT Wranglers, for those of you who don't know, it's a Texas-based collective of people that are interested in NFT and Web3. It started as just a few people who met on Twitter and decided to meet for coffee one day. And fast forward to now, I mean, there's like 400 members. We have events on a weekly basis. We have meetups, like a big meetup once every month. And it's just like an awesome spot to like meet people in the space that are building really cool things. Like, I mean, Apewell is a part of the community, which is an awesome project. I mean, there's like Smeisty Vulcan, which is Adam's company. There's Token Proof, which was like the MVP of NFT NYC, which is Fonz's company. Like all these people come together and we meet up for coffee or drinks on the weekend. We help each other out. And I think it's a really beautiful thing. It's just like full of really awesome people. So that's probably the main community that I spend a lot of my focus and time engaging in. Beyond that, as far as online communities go, Proof Collective is one that is awesome. Everyone in there is very cool. I think like what the team is building as far as like the collective and Moonbirds and oddities and then into high rise, like they're forward thinking people. It's exciting to be part of that one from day one. On that, there's communities. Love the cool cats. We love the cats. So shout out to Elu too.
Yeah.
He's another Wrangler. But yeah, man. I mean, I think those are probably two main ones: Proof and Wranglers.
I just like to learn what communities people are part of, because to me that's what defines your digital identity. Is like who do you vibe with the most, and usually just by looking at what communities people are a part of, you can kind of get a sense of who they are and what kind of stuff they're interested in. Yeah, and everything you said is exactly what drew me to the NFT Wranglers.
The way I got into Wranglers is I was out one night just having a beer with a friend, and I saw a dude in a Bored Ape hoodie. And before then, the only NFT like people I knew were online. I had never seen anyone else that was into, or none of my friends either were into NFTs in person. So seeing this person with this Bored Ape hoodie on, I was just like immediately just drawn to walking directly to them and introducing myself. And it turns out that person was Lucky.
Wow.
And yeah, and I was like, dude, what's up, man? Like Bored Ape, that's really cool. And we just talked for a little bit, and he was like, come to this meetup on Wednesday morning. And it was like the coolest thing I'd ever heard, because for the months leading up to me meeting Lucky, I'd been obsessed, just like in Discord, on Twitter. Never even considered that there were other people in the city where I was that were interested in NFTs. So that was like the coolest thing ever. And it turns out like everyone, like we mentioned earlier, is super nice and kind and fun to be around. So it's been an awesome thing. But how long until you were comfortable like doxing yourself to people that lived in the same city as you?
Honestly, I never really gave out any type of my info or really even met up with people in real life until I started going to the NFT Wrangler stuff.
Like the coffees? Or did you go
Yeah.
to one of like the wine event early on?
I went to the wine event. That was the first one.
Was
And
that
then
weird? Like going to your first one?
It was a little weird because you really just don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know what type of people would be there. I'm one of the younger people in our group, and I figured it was gonna be all like I really had no idea. I thought it was gonna be really old people in the group, but like
interesting. Yeah.
like everyone's like, like it's not a huge age gap, but there is a big range still. But it was definitely like the people were a lot cooler than I expected. I think there's a reason why we're such a strong community. It's just because we're all genuinely interested in this kind of stuff.
You're exactly right. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect either. And I think the fact that it's this motley crew of people from all over with varied interests, but one common interest being Web3 and NFTs, that's what makes it so cool, because people bring in these interesting like backgrounds and life experiences and careers, and then everything just overlaps and there's an endless amount of things to talk about, which you would never expect. Like I think I felt the same as you early on.
So I wanted to kind of shift a little bit of the focus more to VaultSwap, but so you built this with Stuart, and did you guys meet at NFT Wranglers? I'm pretty sure he's a local guy too, isn't he?
Yeah, man. So Stuart is also a Wrangler, and how VaultSwap started is I met Stuart like one Wednesday morning for coffee, and we just kind of became friends. We talked about, whatever, some NFT things. I forget exactly what we first discussed. And a few weeks in, he mentioned to me this idea that he had for this trading platform. And from there, we went and met separately, and he laid out this idea. And I never really saw myself building or helping build like a trading app. It was not on my radar. Like, I think at the time I was more interested in collections and different forms of art. So creating a tool was not something that I thought I'd be doing. But we sat down and Stuart laid out this like really cool vision. He also kind of explained his, the past companies he had built and the things he was working on. And we just had a good discourse on like what trading was, how it's like currently perceived as taboo, and the things that we could do to advance trading in the NFT space. And we just got along really well. Like we had great arguments. Everything was very constructive, and before long, we found ourselves like putting pen to paper and starting to build VaultSwap. And here we are 3 or so months later, and we launched VaultSwap on mainnet, and it's super exciting, and it's as fun as it was the first time we met.
Yeah, congrats on that launch, by the way. It's so cool
Thanks,
to see
man.
all these things actually end up coming to fruition. I wanted to ask, is there any like specific story or event that happened that kind of inspired you to create VaultSwap, or was that just something that you guys thought of just from the coffee, basically?
So I think the um, the main idea of VaultSwap is it kind of goes back to our childhoods. Like, did you ever collect cards at all, like
Oh
Pokemon
yeah,
cards or
yeah, a
Yu-Gi-Oh?
lot
Oh
of
yeah,
Pokemon, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, all that kind of stuff.
yeah, man. I was a huge Pokemon guy myself. Um, but there's this like thrill whenever you collect your Pokemon cards. You have your binder, and then you put them next to your friend's binder, and you're going back and forth. You're like looking at the cards, and then you're deciding on things to trade. And there's just like this thrill to it, where you could trade things and be so happy with the things that you gain. And we're trying to kind of recreate that through VaultSwap. And we want trading to be like kind of like childlike and fun and safe. But the current state of NFT trading is it's like done in shadowy places, and it's taboo. So we're just trying to bring it all to light, and just make it easier, more fun, and safe.
I think one of my first impression from using VaultSwap is just the simplicity of the interface. The only thing that I was familiar with trading on before this was NFTTrader. I think I was reading somewhere that y'all's code was forked from NFTTrader. Is that correct?
That's correct. The beauty
Okay.
of the blockchain is, smart contracts. You could just use the ones that you want. And so we
Absolutely.
kind of did it on purpose too, because it's a new trading platform, and with these perceptions of trading being taboo, it's one thing to get someone to trade, but another thing to get someone to trust a new platform. So we strategically chose to go with NFTTrader's contract because it had done so much in volume. It was well trusted. People understood the mechanics behind it, and we wanted people to be comfortable with our V1 offering. So yeah, they built an awesome contract, and it works great on our side as well.
What are the biggest differences between what you guys have at VaultSwap and NFTTrader? This was something that I was curious on, just to see what are the differentiators between y'all two?
Sure, that's a good question. So I think NFTTrader with their V2 platform, it was primarily a tool. It just facilitated trades. Like, it was more of a calculator, like as one would use a calculator to calculate things. It was this thing that would objectively allow you to trade. And what we saw was we wanted there to be a more social element to trading, be able to find trades and find opportunities to trade different assets, have people reach out to you and say, hey, I'll trade you these things for that thing that you own, and kind of like break down the wall and make it less of a tool and more of a place where you can go and trade. And that's kind of our primary aim. So I think NFTTrader is awesome. Like their platform is great. Like they were ahead of their time, and they definitely serve an important role in the NFT space.
So it sounds like you guys are trying to make it more of a social thing in a way.
Definitely. I hesitate to use the word social because we don't want to, like, we're not trying to have like build Twitter inside of a trading app, but we just want people to be able to know that we want people to show the NFTs that they're interested in trading, at least like communicate that with the world somehow, receive trade requests based off their interests. And I think we can do that in a really compelling and simple and safe way. And that's the primary direction we're headed.
Who do you see as the typical user of VaultSwap? Like who would really benefit from using this?
It's a great question. So currently not that many people trade because it's perceived as this taboo thing where like you trade NFTs, it's like behind the scenes. We want to bring trading to the surface, and we want, like, as you can call them, normies to feel comfortable trading. We want to create a really safe platform where anyone, not just people that are trying to do OTC deals, feels comfortable, trading NFTs with another person. So yeah, we want to bring it to the masses. That's our aim.
Where do you see VaultSwap headed in the future?
It's a great question. So currently with VaultSwap, you can safely trade. And the next iteration of VaultSwap, we want users to not only continue to be able to safely trade, but to also more intelligently trade. And so as far as intelligence goes, we want people to know what NFTs other users are willing to trade. And we want our users to be able to show other users the collections that they're interested in. And beyond that, have a place where users can collect like an inbox of different trade requests. So, hey, if you have a mutant ape and you're open to receiving trade requests for it, like, why not know what's out there? Like, what harm does that do? So that's the direction we want to go. We just want to kind of break down the walls and create more opportunities for people to trade NFTs back and forth.
Awesome. That kind of gave me an idea. I don't know if y'all thought about this yet, but I'll share it just in case.
Let's hear it.
So like you know how you can send collection offers of like, I want to sell or I want to buy this NFT, any NFT from this collection for this amount of ETH. I think it would be kind of interesting to do collection offers with a bundle of NFTs or something like that instead of just like a token. I don't know if that's something that's on y'all's radar, but it might be interesting.
Paper, you're on to us.
Connecting dots. This is why I do what I do.
Sure, they pay you the big bucks. But
yes,
yeah,
sir.
That's exactly what we're trying to create. A couple of things I want to touch on. One is VaultSwap is completely free for anyone to use for the next month. So if you have a trade, if you want to make a trade with somebody, check out VaultSwap. There's no fees. It's a free platform to use. And if anyone wants to make a trade with me, my ENS is Auslo.eth. Just shoot me a DM and I'll trade you something in my wallet. So I'll leave that available. Maybe you and I can make a trade after we're done recording.
Yeah,
would you be down with that, Paper?
Yeah, we can definitely test it out. Let's get some trades cooked up.
Let's do it, man. Awesome. But yeah, so I just want to say thanks for your time and have me on ApeWell. This has been really fun.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on. It's an honor. I'm so glad that this is finally out there and we can finally see how it goes live. And I'm excited that you're on this journey now, and I'm just excited to watch how it goes. So appreciate you joining as well.